and welcome to another great episode of Dietitians Dialogue. My name's Jamie Portnoy, your host. Today we have a very special guest as well as a very knowledgeable guest, Joyce Miller. Hi, Joyce.
Thank you for inviting me today.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. Joyce, can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
I graduated from Michigan State University and with my dietetics degree and took my clinical training at the University of Michigan. So for all of you in football land, you know those are arch rivals. But I enjoyed both universities. It was great.
Good.
Subsequently, I took a job working as a nutritionist with the Indian reservations. And so I would travel from reservation to reservation, and I was working with the Native American counselors who were involved with the Women, Infant, and Children Supplemental Food Program. So it was a fabulous opportunity to work with women, pregnant women, and children. And after that, I relocated to the Chicago area where I have stayed ever since. And I worked up at I worked at the VA hospital in North Chicago and also at St. Therese Hospital, as it was then called, up in Waukegan. And then came to Winchester House, which is a skilled nursing home facility that's owned by Lake County.
So Winchester Home, is that where you are currently at?
That is correct. So I'm working at Winchester Home, and we are owned by Lake County. That's all the taxpayers in Lake County. And we are managed by a private management firm called HDG, Health Dimensions Group. And so we currently have about 160 residents that are residing with us, either for short-term care after surgery or for long-term care. We also have a dedicated Alzheimer's unit, which is very special.
And that Alzheimer's unit, is that Alzheimer's unit locked, or can it be a little bit of both?
It is a secure environment for our Alzheimer's patients.
Oh, good. And at Winchester Home, are you primarily the dietitian, or are you primarily the registered nurse?
I work in my capacity as a dietitian. I'm actually the food service manager, and I oversee the department as far as menu planning, provision of foods. I supervise the staff, and I have a dietitian and a diet tech who work with me, with our residents.
Very nice. And so with, working at Winchester, can you tell us what a typical day is like?
For my work day.
For your work day.
Okay. I arrive at work and I check in with my crew who at that time are still serving breakfast.
Okay.
So I make sure everything is going well, see if anyone needs any help. Then I have a operations meeting that I attend every morning with the entire team, and we just communicate on new residents or if there's any special programming or special items. And then I return to my department and work on menu planning, ordering. I visit the residents. I get a chance to meet residents. I have resident meetings where the residents help me with choosing the menu and creating special holiday type menus.
At Winchester Home, you're working generally with the elder population, is that correct?
That is correct.
So what are the daily recommended intake for the elder population? Can you touch on that a little bit?
Sure. I'd love to talk about the specific things for people, and I will just say for over 50. How's
over
that?
50. Over 50
so
sounds great.
That sounds good. So one of the things that we are very careful about is hydration, and that's water. And it's key for everyone.
Absolutely.
But especially as we age, our thirst mechanism changes, so that a lot of times we don't know that we're thirsty.
Sure.
So we have to really make sure that we push fluids, and of course the recommendation is the same as for everyone, which is 8 cups of fluid a day.
Okay.
Now a lot of people think, oh, that has to be plain water, and of course that's not true.
Sure. Absolutely.
Any fluid that you have, whether it's coffee or juice or milk, all counts towards that 8 cups a day.
Okay.
So fluid is important. Another thing that's very important, above and beyond what a younger person would need, would be calcium needs.
Okay.
Calcium is very important in preventing osteoporosis. Of course, it's not the only thing, but it's very important. In fact, I was just reading a study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition that studied the intake of calcium for people over 60, and it showed that women over 60 were getting an average of 480 milligrams a day. The recommendations are 1,200. So we're falling very, very short on our intake of calcium.
And that's less than even half.
That is correct. And when you look at the incidence of fractures amongst the elderly, you know, there's something in the neighborhood of 35 million fractures.
Wow.
And this is something that we see very common, you know, in elderly tripping or whatever. And if your calcium stores are low and your bones are thin, you know, they're going to break.
Absolutely.
So, but there are other things, hormonal things that affect calcium, such as estrogen. As women age and estrogen drops, so too does the absorption of calcium.
So what do you generally recommend that they eat then?
Well, dairy foods are a powerhouse of nutrients.
Sure.
And the recommendations with the dietary guidelines are, for this age group, are 3 cups or 3 servings of dairy foods a day. So whether it's dairy or whether it's yogurt or whether it's cheese or cottage cheese, that's what we strive to do. So 3 good servings, and then the additional components of a healthy diet usually are enough to hit 1,200. Of course, a lot of people have lactose intolerance, as you know, as a dietitian.
Absolutely.
And then it becomes really challenging to get the calcium,
that
you
they
know,
need
in.
on a daily basis.
Right, and not only calcium, but the vitamin D, which is, of course, needed to help, you know, utilize the calcium. So what we recommend is, if someone cannot handle the lactose, we will always try lactose-free products like lactose-free milk.
And they also have lactose-free ice cream as well.
They do, and lactose-free yogurt. Yeah, lactose-free cottage cheese.
Sure.
So there's a number of products, you know, for those people that can't tolerate the lactose. And a significant amount of the population, you know, can't tolerate it. African Americans and Asian Americans generally don't tolerate the lactose as well as people from Northern European ancestry. So it can be a real challenge to get that calcium
On a daily basis.
on a daily basis. And I would recommend, however, that anyone in our audience who is thinking about taking supplements really needs to talk to their doctor first, because of course there are medical conditions that would, you know, you would not want to take high amounts of calcium.
Calcium, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's some good advice.
Yes.
And then also, going back to what you do on a daily basis, you know, not only, you know, counseling with the patients and then talking about their diets, you also touched on menu planning. So of those menus, are there difference between mechanical soft and pureed? Can you give us a little example of those specific menus?
Certainly. Basically, every diet order has got 3 parts, okay? The first part is any therapeutic requirement. Are you diabetic? Are you just on a regular diet, low salt? Second part, what is your chewing ability? Can you tolerate regular foods? Are your teeth good? Do you have dentures? Or do you not have dentures and need mechanically altered foods?
Sure.
And then the third part, which is very important, is the consistency of the liquids. Because we find, and this is a huge field now, is that sometimes residents that have strokes have paralysis of their swallowing mechanism.
Absolutely.
And when they try to drink coffee or tea or water, they choke. And what's happening is that the fluid is getting into their lungs. Of course, when you have fluid in your lungs, that's called pneumonia, and that's a very serious condition. Pneumonia in the elderly, you know, the statistics of mortality are very high. So we want to do all we can to help our residents stay healthy and and meet their nutritional needs.
Absolutely.
Along with calcium absorption, we are really strongly focused on bone health. And
Sure.
when I say bone health, it's not just, you know, the bones of our arms and legs, but the bones of our jaw and our teeth.
Sure.
Okay? So that calcium becomes very, very important, as well as the vitamin D,
Of
you know,
course.
to help absorb it. But even as important is exercise.
Exercise is very important.
And
we always recommend, you know, if you're not on a regimen, you know, at least 10 minutes of exercise spread out, you know, throughout the day. And goal is going to be, you know, 5 to 7 days, you know, 30 to 60 minutes for long-term weight management.
That's exactly what I was going to recommend.
Was it?
Yes, yes. We also find that if possible, resistance training
Okay.
seems to be very helpful in you know, regeneration of bone, and especially of keeping our muscles strong. Because as we age, past the age of 40, it's all downhill. We start losing lean muscle mass.
Sure.
And by the time you're 60, you have lost 30% of your lean body mass. By the time you're 80, it's 50%.
Sure.
So it's really important to protect the muscle and the bones, keep the bones strong by that resistance exercise.
Absolutely.
And also protein intake, of course, is very important.
To help prevent that lean body mass as well.
Right, and to lay down fresh muscle
Sure.
as well, because it's really possible at 60 or 70 or 80 to really improve your condition with proper eating and with exercise. But again, you know, we need to make sure that our physician, you know, is on board and okays, you know, those kind of programs.
Absolutely. Well, Joyce, I know you have some tips for all of our viewers. So do you mind sharing some of those tips with them?
I can't stress enough the importance of fruits and vegetables, because what we find for Americans as a whole, but particularly for older Americans, we're not getting enough fruits and vegetables. So we're really striving to get, for women, and I'm talking about maybe a 1,600 calorie level, which is what women, you know, would be good for in elderly. 1.5 cups of fruit a day, and 2 to 2.5 cups of vegetables a day. And it's really hard, but just a few things. Now, this is the season, of course, for fresh fruit.
Yes.
And it's just really refreshing to have any kind of fresh fruit in season. I brought along some fresh strawberries here. They're in season now. These can be eaten raw. These can be pureed if you feel like doing a smoothie. Smoothies are fantastic because you can get a lot of fruits and vegetables in a smoothie. Keep that in your refrigerator. In fact, I do a smoothie on Sunday. I pack it with vegetables and fruit. I keep it in my refrigerator and I use it up over the course of 2 or 3 days. And it's wonderful, just a nice little shot of fruit juice. So these can also be frozen, or you can use it in various recipes, which, you know, is great. And then one other thing that I brought with me is just a sample of some cute little vegetable trays that are available. You can, of course, do this yourself. It's kind of hard when you're at home and you're cooking for one. You know, the packages, if you were to buy a package of carrots, a package of celery, a thing of broccoli, that's a lot of food to have. So sometimes these convenience packs are an idea to have in the refrigerator so that when you're hungry,
you can just
pull whatever you might, and it's so healthy. So, you know, by focusing on fruits and vegetables for snacks and in between meals, it's entirely possible to meet our nutritional needs.
Absolutely, and these are some great tips as well as some great snacks. So thank you very much for sharing these with us.
Well, you're welcome.
And thank you very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Well, I would just like to close with one thing,
Absolutely.
and this goes back to about the mid-'70s, so you won't remember this. But one of the nutritional slogans used to be, "You are what you eat." And this is very, very true. We need to be really careful that we're nourishing our bodies with the nutrients that we need in order to stay healthy and to stay independent as long as possible.
Very true.
Thank you so much for allowing me to come.
Thank you, and thank you for coming on. And we hope that you'll come on again and share even more nutrition information with us.
Well, thank you.
Remember, if you embrace nutrition, nutrition will embrace you. This is your show. I want to hear what you have to say. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, email me your questions and show ideas. Check out our website, dietitiansdialogue.com. Have a great day.